Now at 5 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, residents in Edna cleaning up today after last night's storms. Authorities arrested a man from San Antonio and Hallettsville on drug charges. And the city of El Paso has purchased a former middle school to use as an emergency shelter due to the influx of migrants.
We have additional showers popping up this afternoon. So far, so good. Nothing severe. These are little garden varieties. The heaviest one up here near the Palacios area. But here's Victoria. You can see nothing around us in the immediate future. We'll certainly be watching it for you for the next few hours. So join us in just a minute for more on your weather.
7 years ago tomorrow, 11-year-old Kevin Garza was killed in a pedestrian crash. The driver never stopped. You're watching 25 News Now at 5. Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. I'm James Munoz. Karina Garcia has the day off. Edna was hit hard by last night's storm. Police were warning drivers to go home as emergency workers reported broken gas lines and electrical lines down all over town. The Edna ISD canceled classes today as residents cleaned up from last night's storm. The First Warn Storm Team says the worst of the storm with severe winds entered Edna just before 8 p.m. and lasted about 10 minutes. The heavy rain lasted a few minutes longer.
But even Harvey didn't do this much damage, and it blew the awning and the tree branches. That's most of the damage. We have a little roof damage, but all over town there's power lines down. We had electricity gone.
The National Weather Service confirms Edna was hit by straight line winds of between 60 to 70 miles per hour. This is Skyview over areas hit hard by the storm last night in Edna. Our crew this morning saw a fast food restaurant sign blown over, and our viewers sent in photos of damage to homes and an RV on its side. A number of trees damaged near the courthouse and other areas. Workers had to clear several streets of debris. The senior center in Edna also had some damage. Again, no reports of any injuries. Victoria firefighters were busy with a report of a downed power line around 7 a.m. It happened at this home in the 4700 block of Begonia Lane. The power company was called in to help with the issue. No one was hurt. Downed power lines were a big concern for areas hit by last night's storm. You should always treat a downed power line as if it were live. In Victoria, we saw at least 1 inch of rain. Some areas had water over parking lots and roadways. The thunderstorm moved quickly into the city between 9 and 10 p.m. With most of the heavy rain happening on the east side of town, the storm continued moving south into Calhoun and Refugio counties. That's where Chief Meteorologist Maclovio Perez picks up the story, but let's do our viewer poll first. How about that? Scan the QR code right there on your screen. Did you experience storm damage last night? Yes or no? We want to know. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we'll have an update on 25 News Now at 6. Mac, lots of people complaining about the heat tonight or today, even though we had those storms last night.
Yeah, well, it was nice last night. We dropped from 90 degrees down to 70 degrees after the storm, so that was good. But today, with the heat and the humidity, it's still on the warm side. We do get additional showers today. So far, so good. Nothing severe, but we're certainly watching it. The heaviest one right now is near Palacios and going right into the downtown area. Here's Victoria, here's Edna, here's Wharton. That's where the corridor got the heaviest thunder showers. In fact, last night we were tracking what I thought was going to be a big hail issue. It was up there and it wasn't in the city, so hopefully everybody got spared. But as we head on to the weekend, things should get a little bit better. We'll be talking more about that coming up in a moment.
Board members in the Victoria ISD are focused on accountability this afternoon. The meeting starts in about 20 minutes. 25 News Now reporter Adarius McCormick is live there with more. Adarius.
That's right, James. We're at the Victoria ISD Administration Building where the board called a special meeting, which means the public has an opportunity to speak. Today, the board plans to learn a little bit more about accountability. According to the Texas Education Agency, accountability focuses on studying the performance of schools, educators, and students, which ensures standardized education and resource efficiency. Reporting live in Victoria, I'm Adarius McCormick, KAVU TV, 25 News Now.
Thank you. One person was killed and several other people are hurt following a shooting at a townhome community Monday afternoon. Police were called to the scene in South Dallas around 2 p.m. The victim who was killed was 19. The other 3 victims were taken to a hospital. Their conditions are unknown. Police have not made any arrests. Monday night, Hallettsville police made a traffic stop in the 2000 block of U.S. Highway 77 South. It was a traffic stop. Police searched the vehicle and say they found marijuana, a firearm, and cocaine. 24-year-old Christian Abraham Garcia of San Antonio faces a number of charges. The city of El Paso is buying a former school to serve as an additional emergency migrant shelter. The city council voted unanimously Monday to buy the school building. Before Monday's vote, El Paso's mayor said the city has found bedding accommodations for more than 7,000 migrants over the past 10 days. They've also prepared 16,500 meals. On Sunday, the city manager said the city transported more than 400 processed migrants out of San Jacinto Park to hotels. Tomorrow is the 7-year anniversary of the day Kevin Garza was killed in a pedestrian crash. That driver never stopped. 11-year-old Kevin was walking to school in Bloomington when he was hit. You can read more about this story on crossroadstoday.com under news. A lawsuit claims a Jack in the Box employee shot at a customer over curly fries. The employee involved in the 2021 incident has already served her sentence. The family wants the restaurant held accountable.
The order, a number 2 with curly fries, after a mother and her 6-year-old daughter landed in Houston. The father picked them up, placed the order at this Jack in the Box on JFK Boulevard near Bush Airport. 15 minutes later, they were speeding out of the drive-thru, trying to avoid gunfire. In just released video, employee Alania Ford seems agitated with customer Anthony Ramos. He is in the driver's seat, according to a lawsuit. His pregnant wife is in the passenger seat, and their 6-year-old daughter is in the back. They paid $12.99 for a combo, the lawsuit says, but didn't get the curly fries they ordered. Not even halfway into the dispute, the video shows Ford ready a gun. Minutes later, and with another employee, she throws ice and condiments through the window before firing at least twice at the family. Ford was initially charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, but pleaded guilty to a lesser charge of deadly conduct, got 1-year deferred adjudication, and completed it, court records show, in June. The family from Florida filed the lawsuit after the guilty plea, claiming Jack in the Box was negligent for not keeping customers safe from potentially dangerous employees. In its original answer, Jack in the Box denied all allegations, writing they have no control over or legal responsibility for a third party like Ford.
President Biden has joined the United Auto Workers in Michigan on the 12th day of their strike against major car makers in a historic demonstration of support for organized labor. He told workers today to stick with it and exchanged fist bumps with workers a day before President Trump makes his own visit to meet with UAW members. President Biden has repeatedly sided with the UAW during the strike. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Straight ahead on 25 News Now at 5, Hunter Biden is suing Rudy Giuliani and his former attorney. Also ahead, Mississippi river levels are reaching historic lows due to the extreme drought.
Hi, I'm Detective Kelly Gibbs with the Victoria Police Department. Victoria Crime Stoppers is seeking information about burglaries of a motor vehicle. The Victoria Police Department is seeking the identity of a Hispanic male who is the suspect of 2 separate burglaries of a motor vehicle. These burglaries occurred on September 6th and September 21st of 2023 at a business at the 6100 block in North Navarro. The Hispanic male was caught on surveillance video on the 2 separate dates. The suspect shows to be driving a blue Nissan Versa. If you have any information about these burglaries of a motor vehicle, please call Victoria Crime Stoppers at 361-572-4200. You can also submit a tip by using the P3 Tip app on your Android or Apple device, or by visiting our website at www.crimestoppersvictoria.com. All tips are anonymous, and if you give information that leads to arrest or charges being filed, you could earn a cash reward. With the Victoria Police Department, I'm Detective Kelly Gibbs.
Hunter Biden is suing Rudy Giuliani and his former attorney. He's accusing them of hacking his devices. He says Giuliani and Robert Costello spent years manipulating, copying, disseminating, and obsessing over data they were given that was taken or stolen. Earlier this month, he brought a similar suit against a former Trump White House aide. Last week, he sued the IRS for releasing his tax information illegally. If you have itchy eyes or a runny nose, ragweed and mold spores may be to blame. Here's some tips on how to tackle those seasonal allergies.
It's that time of year again. The air is crisp, the leaves will fall, and autumn allergies may act up.
Things like stuffy nose, drippy nose, sneezing, itching of the nose, or maybe itching, redness of the eyes.
Allergist Matthew Rank with Mayo Clinic says allergens floating in fall air can also trigger asthma symptoms, but there are ways to gain control. Rank says to first try saline nasal sprays or rinses, over-the-counter non-sedating antihistamines, and nasal spray medications.
Each of those medicines works a little bit differently as far as how fast they work and how well they work. And some of them, particularly the nasal steroid sprays, it's a really good idea to think about 2 to 4 weeks ahead of when your allergy season typically is and getting it started.
If symptoms can't be controlled, Rank says it's time to see an allergy specialist who can work on other treatment options to help desensitize you to the allergens or find out what's causing the problem.
People that lose their sense of smell. This can happen from somebody who has severe environmental allergy, but that could be a sign that something else is going on.
Rank says the National Allergy Bureau website can also help.
And you can pick a counting station where they actually count the pollens close to where you live, and you can get some idea what's in the air currently.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The Mississippi River is nearing historic lows due to extreme drought. Almost every water gauge along the 400-mile stretch is at or below normal. The river is one of the nation's most vital waterways. It provides transportation for food supply chains as well as drinking water for millions of people. Mac?
Well, thank you very. Another thing that's also very low is if you're familiar with Canyon Lake up near San Marcos, that's also at record low levels because of the lack of rain. And they're closing a lot of the docks, so it's all over the place. Well, we're taking a look at some more afternoon showers that are popping up. The heaviest stuff out here in Palacios. Here's Victoria, here's Cuero, and coming out of Stockdale and into Karn City, a little bit of activity, but it's not as bad as last night. We'll be talking about the storm totals coming up in just a moment, so stay tuned.
Army veteran Rene Reyes is your military hero for the month of September. Reyes was born and raised in Goliad, and just a few days after he finished high school, he joined the United States Army.
10 days after I got out, I joined the military, the Army, because my dream was to be a paratrooper. and my dream came true.
His reasoning for joining the service goes back to his childhood.
I got trouble when I was 14 years old in Goliad. And my punishment was to report to our sheriff every Saturday for 2 months and do whatever he wanted me to do. And he was a World War II airborne trooper. He made the big jumps, Normandy Day and all of that, D-Day. And he would tell me stories, and I told him I want to be a paratrooper. You got to realize I was 114 pounds at the time, and 5'2" probably. He said, "You'll never make it." And I came back and I showed him my wings. I said, "I made it." He said, "I knew you could do it." That's the reason I went airborne. This man, he challenged me, and I took his challenge up. That's the reason.
So in 1963, he joined the Army and served in the Vietnam War. But just getting to Vietnam was a challenge. As Reyes says, the U.S. government sent him on a cruise in July of 1965.
It took us 22 days to get to Vietnam on a troop carrier that had over 4,000 troops on it. Can you imagine that? I know you can. Well, I went through that too.
Reyes was assigned to the 101st Airborne Division, and once in Vietnam, he was in combat infantry, or as he calls it, a grunt. In Vietnam, he was in the jungles of the Central Highlands the whole time, catching malaria at one point, and he had to be hospitalized for 8 weeks.
Go out there and get them. And that was my job, or our job as infantry. Grunt is get it.
He was moved around Vietnam via helicopter and would be dropped off in jungles, left there for about a week at a time, going on search and clear missions as well as search and destroy missions.
It wasn't a good war, I'm telling you that right now.
Reyes is also a Purple Heart recipient.
We were involved in a helicopter crash. We were landing in a hillside because we had incoming fire, and the pilot and co-pilot both got hit, and the chopper crashed, and we all got screwed up and messed up. But that's where I got my Purple Heart.
Over 58,000 American service members died in the Vietnam War. Reyes is thankful to have made it back.
My unit, we lost a lot of them. And my unit was first of the 327 Battalion. We lost 758, I think, something like that.
58,000 lives lost is a staggering number, and it's important to not get lost in the numbers. Each one of those is a person who made the ultimate sacrifice for you and I's freedoms as Americans. One of those lives lost is a man by the name of Reuben Lewis Garnett Jr. from Stilton, Pennsylvania. Reyes considers him his guardian angel.
They call him Sweet Daddy Grace. He was 6'4", about 260 pounds. Big guy. Perfect paratrooper. I wasn't. One of our major battles we were in was in March the 4th, 1966. And Reuben saved my life that day and saved, I would say, several other people. And he got killed. He got killed trying to save the lieutenant's life. Me and my wife now actually flew to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania to see his mother. So I could tell her thank you. But why him and the other guys too? Why them, not us, But the Lord has his way,
Reyes put it best, paratroopers never actually die.
Old troopers never die. They just grab other wings, period.
Coming home wasn't easy either.
Nobody told us welcome home when we got home. But now I'm telling everybody welcome home. And that's our Vietnam veterans, Vietnam veterans, that's how we greet each other, welcome home. And that's it.
Reyes would come back to Victoria and raise a family with his wife and worked at Alcoa for 38 years. His daughter was an athlete, so he would support her at all her games. And his son actually worked here at the news station.
I have an older boy, like I said. He worked for KVU. He came in to work for y'all guys, same time Brubaker did. I remember Don back in the day, but he knows me.
Reyes is also very active in numerous veterans organizations here in Victoria. He actually served as the first president of the Vietnam Veterans of America Victoria Extension. One of his proudest involvements is the Victoria County Veterans Council. his work with the funeral detail, meaning they'll show up to any funeral for any veteran that passes away in Victoria County, something that's very important to him. He urges other veterans to help out and join these organizations, as well as younger veterans to join. Reyes comes from a military background with his dad serving in World War II and brothers who also served, saying he's proud of that and that serving made him a better person.
Responsibility. You're on your own now, son. You ain't got no mama or daddy to take care of you. You're on your own. You do whatever you want to, whatever you think you need to do. But that's what it is.
Reyes is a skilled carpenter and enjoys relaxing with his wife and his dog, Cody Renee, and spending time with fellow veterans. He actually went to play poker at the VFW right after our interview. So thank you, Renee Reyes, for your service to your country. And let's take a moment to think about our fellow Americans who made the ultimate sacrifice, like Mr. Reuben Lewis Garnett and so many others. I'm Adam Seibel, KAVU TV 25 News Now.
Good afternoon, everybody. On our live camera out in Cuero, you can see one little shower rolling around the area. You see the little rain shaft right about there, and obviously they're getting some shower activity, but at this time we're not getting anything really severe like we did last night. 93 degrees right about now. We did manage to get up to 93, which is our high temperature for the day, and we're trying to get back to average. You know, we haven't been near average in, what, 4 months? So with a little luck, we may get closer to that for the next day or two, and then we may even have a little bit of a warming trend by the beginning of next week. Here's some of the rain totals from last night. Edna, obviously, I don't know if you were watching yesterday, but we were watching it come through. We definitely saw a hail core coming through that Edna area, and at that time we didn't know how bad it was because it was just occurring, but with 2.4 inches of rain in what, less than an hour? I mean, it was pretty rough stuff. Telfernur came in at 131, Port Lavaca at 113. The west side of Victoria got 4,900. Goliad 4/10, and Cuero also had 4/10. So it was a lot of huffing and puffing as that stuff came through. Now this is right now. This is the heaviest stuff. There's Palacios, and you see it right about there. It's all moving south down toward the coast. And of course, this is the heavier stuff that you saw. Probably that's the one you were looking at, and the rain, because there's Cuero, and you look up that way, and there it is. So those are the showers that are existing even as we speak. And you can almost see the frontal system right here, almost draped along I-10, and that's where the instability is occurring. That is going to continue dropping slowly south. You can see how it's much drier up to the north of it, and we've got some stormy weather out in far west Texas, but this is the stuff that's getting us. The stuff in far west Texas may get a little bit heavier tonight, so that's why they're under a severe weather outlook out in that area. What about us? Well, we're looking at observed highs for today, got up to 93, 94 in Port Lavaca. We're looking at 96 in San Antonio. And of course, tomorrow we're still in the 90s, and then we're not even close to normal. We can't get to average. And of course, I wanted to mention, obviously, Edna in our area got the heaviest activity with the hail. But if you heard about Sunday night in the Round Rock, Georgetown, north of Austin, they had a huge hailstorm with 2 and 3 inch hail. And there are a lot of cars with broken windows out there tonight. So they really had a strong system. All right, so what do we expect? Well, the frontal system continues to slowly drift south. This little front is helping it to push it down. That's why it's clearing up. And while we've got some fairly nice weather with the clouds and the rain today, the high pressure seems to be coming back. As a matter of fact, in the next 2 or 3 days, it's going to move to the Central Plains. Now, it's probably going to settle down and give us a little bit of a warming trend, but it's also going to sort of really squeeze down that rain opportunity. I mean, it'll be a low grade 20%, and that's about it. So let's take a look at your forecast. We're looking at your day planner for Port Lavaca, 76 in the morning, 91 in the afternoon. Still got that light north wind because of the front. And then in Cuero, we're looking for a low of 73, getting up to 94. Again, partly cloudy, a couple of isolated showers, nothing severe. Now, when do we start warming up? Looks like to me that by Saturday we start getting back up to the mid-90s to about 95, 96 for 2 or 3 days as the pressure rises over us, and our chance for shower activity is only because it's going to be so hot that it may pop one of these during the late afternoon hours. So we'll just keep that in sight, and tomorrow is our best chance with about a 30% of afternoon activity. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that, put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's James.
Stay with us in business news. A credit rating agency warns the federal government is sliding closer to a shutdown. The Dow down 389, the S&P 500 down 63, the Nasdaq losing 207, oil up 71 cents, closing at $90.39 a barrel. There's warnings from Moody's. The federal government is sliding toward a possible shutdown at the end of the month. The credit rating agency says this shutdown could hurt America's credit. This comes a month after Fitch downgraded the U.S. credit rating in the middle of the debt ceiling fight. We'll take one last look at your forecast. Plus, an officer in Arkansas chased down a bird. Now here's a look at what's coming up on World News Tonight.
Tonight, President Biden is in Michigan supporting auto workers. Plus, with no clear plan in sight to avoid a shutdown, why more could be at stake this time. More Americans turn to the most watched newscast on television. World News Tonight with David Muir.
This body cam video shows an officer chasing down a chicken after someone complained about the bird. The officer is a new academy grad. He had his training officer with him. The department says the officers returned the chicken safely to its home. Wow, why did the chicken cross the road? Quickly on the weather.
Get away. Weather-wise, a few little showers out there, nothing severe like last night. Tomorrow, we still have a good chance of some afternoon activity, and then it gets real minimum and we start warming up closer to the weekend.
All right, join us back here tonight for 25 News Now at 6.